We're here. Hi, Liz.
I'm
How are
doing
you?
great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And I'm so excited to be here. And I am so excited you are all here joining us as well. Thank you, guys. We know that with the end of the year and the holidays approaching, it can be a little difficult to carve out some time. So we are just so grateful you all took time to join us today. My name is Cassie Sneed, and I get to lead the customer marketing efforts here at Reputation. And I have the big honor of getting to be our moderator on today's webinar. Now, heads up to all our attendees, we highly encourage audience participation. So we're just going to walk through real quick how you can do that today. If you look over on the right side of your screen, you're going to see a couple tabs. First and foremost, there's the chat button. Feel free to pop on in there, say hello to your fellow attendees. We love that encouragement. We are also going to have a couple poll questions today, which is going to be the tab right next to that. We'll give you a heads up when they're coming, and we'll get to see some results live on the screen. So please make sure you're engaging there. And then finally, if you have any specific Q&A for our star of the show, Liz, go ahead and pop that Q&A right there. That's where we'll be able to keep a really good tab on who has those hot questions coming up. So speaking of holidays, we at Reputation feel exceptionally lucky because our Christmas gift came a little early, and that came in the form of our exceptional, intelligent, amazing new Chief Marketing Officer, Liz Carter.
Oh, thank you. Hi there. I'm just as excited as you are to be here today. This is my first webinar as part of the Reputation team. So I'm thrilled to be here and talk to you. And also, I just can't wait to get to know more of our audience and our customers. So I'm excited to be here.
I love that. Well, to kick things off, since this is all about you and getting to know more, how about we just start off with a very simple, basic question of how in the world did you become a CMO? What was your journey like to get there?
Yeah, well, it's funny. We were just chatting backstage before we came in about that kind of career journey. And I was saying how, I feel like I happened upon my sort of career path. I actually came into marketing in the events space. And I was young, out of college, didn't really know what I was going to do. I was an English major. People had maybe mentioned marketing. I actually was I was contractor at the first company I worked for. I ended up working there for 5 years, but they hired me as a contractor in their events marketing team. And I didn't really know what that was, but it was in tech. And, they needed someone to help manage logistics of trade shows and events. And so I came in, I started doing well. I really enjoyed the team and the culture, the company that I was working for. It was so fun. I met a lot of my, now still friends and colleagues and people that I've looked to for advice as I've moved forward. But being in the events world and marketing, it was actually really interesting now that I can look back and see this. It was a crash course on kind of all areas of marketing, right? When you do events, when you go to a trade show or you create a user conference or you're even doing a company kickoff, you're really building an environment to do business, right? And to execute your business. And that involves, product marketing, that involves communication and sometimes PR, that involves, analysts and customer marketing and partner marketing and all those product marketing, all those areas, right, come together to create sort of whatever environment it is that you're looking to do. And so I think that, I was lucky because it created this well-rounded exposure that I had early on in my career to all areas of marketing and also to leadership within the company that I was working on. I was in a company of, 1,200 people and, you wouldn't necessarily get access to the CEO and the founder and the CFO, but when you're running events that are costly and you're doing, and those folks are keynoting, you end up having a lot more exposure. And so I think that because that happened early in my career, as I built off of that, part of event marketing, field marketing, started to be part more of the demand gen part of the organization. My career path kind of grew, and that's how I, that's where I started and how I sort of grew into more areas of the marketing stack.
I love it. So you've really touched all the different facets of marketing some
Yeah,
way, somehow. That's
I mean,
amazing.
I didn't necessarily own them all, over various periods of time. The last company I was at for 11 years, and it was an amazing
Wow.
journey. And the company went through multiple transitions, an acquisition, a spin out, and uh, eventually now another acquisition just
Mhm.
recently. And through all of those journeys at different times, I got to touch different areas of marketing
Yeah,
and run them and learn, also through those periods in a company's journey too, the unique aspects of what you are
sure.
doing and what you're trying to do as a company.
100%. And 11 years at a company is quite a tenure for sure. So I think everyone here and myself too, we're kind of wondering, well, what piqued your interest about Reputation specifically and what motivated you to make the switch?
Yeah. Well, obviously 11 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And I sort of had to make a decision over and over again during that tenure about whether to stay, what I was learning, as part of as a marketer and part of my career, what type of culture I was in. Did I enjoy that? And that was super important to me. I'm a mom as well. And I have two daughters who literally all they ever knew was that company. One of them was born during that time that I was there. The other one was 9 months when I started. So my family grew and expanded and
Yeah.
matured during that period of time. And I think I knew that for that company, I was reaching a point where I thought it was time to go take all the things I'd learned to a new organization. I was really just starting to look into other opportunities, and Reputation was super interesting to me for a couple reasons. First of all, culture was always going to be super important to me, and when I met the CEO, Joe, I immediately knew he was a good person. He was someone that was going to be fun to work with, was going to challenge me in different ways, and I could tell he was really interested in building a good team and a culture around him, and a culture of a company that, the people that just want to be here and do good for the customer, and I
Yeah.
think that's something I was looking for and found as I was going through the interview process and meeting new people. And now that I'm here, like I see that every day, and it's been great. So that's one thing. I certainly wanted to go to a company that I thought had a really good opportunity in the market to do something unique, to really support our customers. And I felt like Reputation had a really strong footing in the space that they serve, and also a vision for the future, and that I think I could come in and bring some of my expertise and help them on their growth journey on our growth journey, to explore and figure out how to do that well, and work with our customers, to tell the stories of value that they're driving within their business, and figure out ways to do that better and across more customers, so I was really excited about the market that Reputation serves, and even selling into the CMO, something like I'm passionate about and I know well. I felt like that would be also exciting, and give me some creative opportunities that maybe I didn't have before, and so all of those things kind of made it easy for me to see that Reputation had a really good opportunity.
Totally. Man, well, the excitement is definitely mutual. Can't even say how excited we are. I love that. And next question we have for you is, knowing that Reputation is all about feedback and feedback driving change, do you have any examples in your life that you've seen feedback drive change, whether it's professionally, personally, anything to share?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. As a consumer out in the marketplace, as someone who, goes to restaurants regularly, right? You open your Open Table app and you're looking for, a restaurant to go see. Well, are you going to go to the 5-star restaurant? Or are you going to go to the 3-star restaurant? I mean, those things to me seem super easy, right? Like you're going to
Yeah.
obviously want that, 4 to 5 star experience versus, sort of even seeing the ones that are, lower on the review scale. Right. So I
Mhm.
think, and that plays a part in, thinking about, VRBO or Airbnbs,
Yeah.
right? I mean, your Uber driver, like they have a
Yeah.
rating, right? Like everything we do as consumers these days, there's a rating and review, and I would say like we all look to those things often, and maybe we don't, subconsciously we don't even realize we're doing it, and so I would say absolutely, that um getting that feedback within a company and a system, and driving change because our drivers are getting bad ratings for X, right? So
Yep.
Uber has to focus specifically on understanding, the types of cars their drivers drive. Or, if you're in a hospital and you think about the type of feedback that you're getting from the people who are coming in there, it helps you figure out how to change that environment to make it better, right? And to make it
Mhm.
more successful for what you're trying to do, and I absolutely think that there are ways and examples of which feedback can drive change within, our businesses on an ongoing basis. It's so important to have that feedback.
I agree 100%. And looking at reputation from when you joined the company to where you are now, what do you feel is reputation's biggest strength at the moment?
Okay, let's see. I mean, in fairness, I'm 30 days in, and um, still getting my arms around me a little bit. But the things that I hear, and I think, and another reason why I came here, first of all, the customers that we have and the customer advocates that we have are pretty amazing. It's awesome when your CEO can introduce you to a group of people who are on the executive advisory board, who are immediately chatting and saying hi, and welcome to the team, and let me know how we can help. I mean, how awesome is that, right? Like, so having that support from your customer base and that relationship is super important. And I think as a marketer, I just want to create opportunities to amplify the stories that are coming out of our customer base, and create more of those partnerships, right? So that more and more companies, CMOs and CX folks within their businesses are driving value, and that change. And I think that's a huge strength for reputation. I also think that, just the technology that we have, and the footing that we have in originally online reputation management, and the way in which we can really uniquely help get this location based
Mhm.
data for our customers, and help them really understand the dynamics, of what's going on in their business across multiple locations is unique, and a strength that we have that we should build off of as we sort of go into, really trying to bring together sort of what's happening on the customer acquisition side and the customer loyalty side. So those are some of the things that I think that reputation can really build off of.
I love that so much. So with that, I'm going to flip it again. So that's our biggest strength. But now with fresh eyes coming into the team, are there any immediate or long-term initiatives that you're hoping to implement?
Um, That's a great question. I think it's sort of building off of some of the things I said. First of all, that customer community.
Yeah.
Um, there's been some work done here already. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, there's some really great active members of that community. I want to make it stronger. I want to build it out. Right. I think, Cassie, that's something you've been working on. You've created an actual community environment. We want to get more customers in it. We want to get them more active. We want to get them learning from each other. I think that to me is super important, and something that just helps level up everyone, right? It'll help us bring more of the right solution sets to our customers. It'll help us It'll help our customers get more value out of the product. So I just think really kind of continuing to build off of that is going to be super important. And I also think that just long term, there's a real opportunity playing out in the market today in this sort of intersection between customer acquisition and loyalty. And I think that there's an opportunity to learn from our customers what that looks like in their business, how those worlds are colliding or intersecting within their business or not, and how we can kind of make sure that our customers are getting value out of both sides.
Totally. Absolutely. And I'll be a little biased. I mean, I believe our advocates are hands down our greatest tool that we have. I mean, our customers are completely fantastic. And I think a lot of what you're saying is just trying to make sure we're getting that message across to our whole population, right? Prospects and customers alike, and making sure we're communicating that. So this is going to lead us to our first poll question that we have, is that looking forward, while we're starting to create some of our new plans for the upcoming year, we want to know from you, what channels do you want to see more engagement from reputation? So we're going to go ahead and launch the poll question in the polls tab. It's going to highlight with the red dot. If you guys want to go in there and check out some of those answers and let us know your thoughts, how do you want to get that more communication from our team? Is it looking at more LinkedIn activity, looking at maybe some podcasts, any text messaging, direct mail, virtual events, or even other? And if you do say other, please let us know in the Q&A what your thoughts are, because we're actually very curious to see what you're thinking on that. So we're going to go ahead and put the poll results live on stage here. And let's see what you guys think. Please make sure you're answering so you can see all those answers coming in live. And I'm scrolling through here.
Oh, I love it. Podcasts, getting some votes, virtual events.
Okay. Wow. Say shameless plug right here. I know our EMEA team, our wonderful EMEA team, actually just kicked off the first podcast. And I think there are 2 episodes out. So if you head over to LinkedIn, you'll be able to check that out there, and more virtual events and webinars.
It's interesting as I look at these answers, Cassie, and think about that last question. I do think there's an opportunity, for some thought leadership, both from within our company, from within reputation, but also from within our customers, that we can bring to bear to the market, and I think that that's something that in my last experience, we did really well, and we really built a forum for which there was a kind of expectation of content and thought leadership that we could bring. And I'm hoping that we can do that too. And maybe some of these formats are ways in which we can do that.
Absolutely. Any way we can put our customers at the forefront, I'm all on board for that.
Yeah. I like it. Mark says that webinars are extremely beneficial and educational, which I think is great. And it's so true. And in today's environment, jumping on a webinar or popping back to something that was recorded is easy to do as well. So it's a good call out. For sure. Okay. I'm looking at the time and we're about halfway through. So for our halfway mark, Liz, we are going to put you in the hot seat with our lightning round. So you're going to get on a slide, a series of this or that. And you just got to say the answer that your gut's telling you to say. So you can't think about it, just go for it. So here we are, lightning round. All right. Which do you prefer, Instagram or TikTok? Instagram. Okay. I literally just downloaded TikTok. It was a whole story, but I'm just so not there. Instagram. That's where I am. Instagram. Love it. Would you rather leave a review or take a survey? I think leave a review. All right. From a business standpoint, would you rather get a 5-star review or a social share? This is hard. I mean, because if you think about the example I gave, like you absolutely, if you're going to be rated somewhere, you want that 5-star, Mark. But a social share, I don't know. Like that's so huge, and the more you can get it, that's a tough one. I mean, I'm gonna go 5-star review, but I don't know. It might be 50-50. I love, especially from a marketing point of view. I mean, it's tough to say. Yes. Right, coffee or tea? Coffee. Love it. Early bird or night owl? I am such a night owl. I wish I was an early bird. Like, if there's anything I could change about myself, if I could be an early bird, I think it would be amazing. Say New Year's, new resolutions are coming up. Maybe we can, goal set and work on that with each other. I try every year, Cassie. Every year. So I'm just putting it out there.
And I think this one actually might be tougher than the reviewer social share, but Carolinas or California?
Yes, this is hilarious and super tough. As maybe the audience may not know, I am originally from North Carolina. I live in California today, and love it. I love where we are, but I am a Carolina girl at heart, and so that's a toughie. I feel like I live here, so that holds some weight for California, but I sure love to go home.
And you don't have to have set a solid answer for that one, just to keep everyone happy. That's all good. Well, thanks for being a good sport for that one. That was just a little bit more fun to do. And we'll get back to our regularly scheduled content here with our next question lined up is, what advice would you give to a company that is just beginning its voice of the customer program?
This is a great question. I think it's so important. And in fact, it's interesting. I've been talking to our chief technology officer and the product marketing organization here about sort of a voice of the customer program. We kicked one off at my previous company, focused around sort of the innovation of our product. And I think that it's really important to define what it is you want to get out of your voice of the customer program. Like what is it? What's the purpose, right? What are you listening to, and types of change are you going to be amenable to really making and creating? So I think that just setting that at the forefront of your program is really important, because you when you go out to try to understand what's happening in your customer base, it could be all over the place. And how are you going to prioritize? And if you think about it ahead of time as to like, what is the focus, or what is the area for which you're going to make change today, that it's important to kind of think through those things before you even kick it off.
So true. So true. And that's such a great advice for anyone starting off, for sure. And looking ahead, even for our own voice of customer program here at Reputation and Reputation Experience in general, what are you seeing as the next big trends within this field?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I am still learning. And so I'm really committed to actually going out and meeting with more of our customers in person and learning from them. So I'm certainly not the expert here. I would say one reason that I took the role and came to Reputation is that I think that the intersection between customer acquisition and customer loyalty, between marketing and customer experience, those worlds are colliding or blending in a lot of ways. And I think there's a lot of value to be had that maybe doesn't exist today there. And so I think that, is it a trend? I don't know that I would use that term, but is it sort of the opportunity that we all have to really understand that intersection and sort of be able to drive value across multiple areas of the business? I think that's probably the opportunity that exists today.
For sure. Absolutely. And luckily, I know we have such a great team too of all these wonderful thought leaders just within Reputation. And recently, our head of our CX department was featured in an article about CX and the upcoming 2023 disruptors. So So for everyone here, if you want to navigate to the Docs tab, there is a link where you can see that article and hear a little bit about his input and what he wanted to say. So if you want to take that link and save it for a later date.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was reading it over it recently, and just some really interesting nuggets there. And I mean, the dynamic that's playing out in the market coming out of COVID, is really unique, and there's just a lot and data today is sort of at our fingertips in a lot of ways. But again, it comes back to kind of what I was saying about the voice of the customer program is like, what are you going to do with that data? How do you focus to really understand and make some decisions on what's going to be an impact to you? I think all of those things are really important to figure out, because it can be very overwhelming.
Yes. And I'm so glad you ended it that way, because that leads us completely into our next poll question for everybody here. So thinking of challenges and overcoming, bringing your departments together, we want to hear from our audience right now. When you're starting to plan for your next year, what are some of the priorities when you're looking at your different challenges that you're hoping to solve for your upcoming year? Are you looking at trying to generate more leads? Are you looking to increase more of your sales? Are you looking to maybe decrease your churn or even drive some more repeat business? So if you want to, I want to all navigate over to that poll section, and we're going to pull up the results here live too. But we want to hear, what are some of your priorities when you're starting to plan for next year?
It's so interesting, right? This is a tough one because, I mean, businesses in general, right, are trying to do all of these.
Right.
And when you think about that dynamic, and depending on the roles of which people that are like joining us and listening, to us,
Yep.
it's probably going to dictate where they're focused,
Yep.
because
I was
it's
just going to say
interesting,
the same
like
thing.
nobody's saying churn here, but I would say that probably everybody's business is in some way focused on that, right? And like, do you want customers to be repeat customers and you don't want them to go away, but maybe, that's not the area of the business that some of the folks we're working with are.
And that's exactly how I was going to tie it to your answer, breaking the two apart. Because typically, when we see acquisition and loyalty, we typically see marketing versus CX. So I think it's interesting from, of course, a CMO webinar, we're seeing a little bit more of that marketing typical trend that we're seeing. I find that very interesting.
Totally.
I love that. Awesome. Thanks everyone for participating. I definitely appreciate that too. And we have one last question for you, Liz, as we're rounding out here. We want to know, are there any upcoming campaigns or events that you're just especially excited about here at Reputation?
Oh my goodness. Well, as I mentioned before, I'm excited about just getting out into, getting out and meeting our customers in person. I know that there's a big trade show in the auto space, NADA, that happens in January that I'm looking forward to being at. I think that's in maybe Dallas, Texas this year. I am so excited about Transform. So the user conference that the Reputation team has put on for many years is happening in May in Austin, Texas. So I love those types of events. I love those opportunities to really meet with your customers, to bring all the new thought leadership and bring out our product managers and marketers and our team that works with our customers day in and day out, so that they can meet in person, and also just watch our customers learn from each other. I think it's so important. So I'm very excited about that. And like I said, just the opportunity to sort of really learn and get to know more about our community.
Absolutely. So I was fortunate enough, I got to go to Transform last year. It was my first time getting to go in person. And it was just electric, just the energy and it was wonderful. Meeting the connections and seeing everyone face to face. It was just completely wonderful. So everyone here, another shameless plug that I'm going to point in, but if you go over to the docs tab, there is a link to our Transform website just to give you some updates on the dates, the timing, our location, just to make sure you can go ahead and save the date on your calendar, because I will echo Liz. We would absolutely love to see you there and to get to engage with you at that time. Oh man, we're already at the top of the hour. That went by so fast, Liz.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Yeah, I absolutely. It did. Super fun.
That's all we have. I'm going to pop into the Q&A real quick if anyone has any last minute questions you have for Liz. But that was such a wonderful, fast 30 minutes. Holy smokes. And yeah, it looks like the Q&A is a little bit quieter than I thought, but that's great. If you guys do have any questions in the long run, you can always feel free to reach out to either of us or your CSM or your AE. We would love to keep the conversation going.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say thanks, Cassie, for the idea behind this webinar, and opportunity to kind of speak to our community and let them know, like, I'm excited about meeting them out in person, getting to know our customers and sort of how we're helping them drive value today and what more we can do. So thanks, Cassie. Thanks to all of you who are listening in, and looking forward to meeting you.
I love it. Yes. Thank you, Liz, too, for being such a good sport. Wonderful. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And if we don't get to talk to you before the end of the year, we wish you all a very, very happy holiday. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Happy holidays. Bye.